Hey dolls, welcome back to Michonne's DIY journey, and thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I made these potted plants, as well as these farmhouse style stacked books. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss an upload. Alright dolls, let's get started. First up, you'll need 3 books from the Dollar Tree. Make sure you get the sizes that you want to proportionately stack them. Then I am going to paint one of them, the one that is not hardback, it's paperback. I'm painting it with the Waverly chalk paint in Elephant, and I am going to use these makeup brushes or sponges. I just ripped it in half, and I'm using it. I probably should not have ripped it because I got paint everywhere, but I'm going to do 2 coats of that. And I'm just going to completely cover it. I'm going to set that aside to dry, and then I'm going to take these other 2 books. These are both hardback, so these are both black, so I decided that I wanted to take the smaller one and then use that and cover that with this contact paper. It's like a wood type paper that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and all I'm doing is going to measure that out to make sure it has just a little bit hanging over, so like a little bit of the lip hanging over, because then I'll just fold that down. So I'm just going to kind of smooth it out, and then going to take my X-Acto knife razor and just cut it down. Then I'm also going to flip it over and cut it on the end, so that way I have a nice piece to just cover the entire book. After you have the correct sized cut, you're then going to just open that up or take it away from the adhesive part, and then just fold it over that first flap of the book. And then you're just going to smooth it out on the back side and make sure you get the creases in that is on the bind of that book. Then you're going to take it to the other side of that other flap of the book, smooth that out, and then fold over that outside piece. And then you have, of course, all these pieces that are excess. So what I did, I just folded it over. Now this contact paper doesn't stick as well as the ones you would get on Amazon or Walmart. So, I mean, it did what I needed it to do. And then for the corners, like in the middle where you can't fold it over, I just cut a little bit of that and then just folded it down inside of the book, because I really don't care what it really looks like on the inside. And then there you have that completed wood-like book. For the next black book, I'm going to keep it this color, but I am going to paint over those letters, and I'm using Waverly chalk paint and ink. I'm going to use another makeup sponge, the other half, and just do several coats of that. I think I did about 3 or 4 because the gold letters, they still showed through. So I did a few of those coats so that way I made sure it was black. Now that I have all my books completed, I am then going to assemble them. Of course, putting the smaller ones on top. Once I have them arranged the way that I like, I played around with it a little bit, trying to see if I wanted them straight, if I wanted them staggered, if I wanted them like diagonally. I tried to figure out a whole lot. So I ended up just figuring out that I just wanted them just pretty much straight. So I took some twine that I have and then just going to tie a knot around it. And then I'm going to take that knot that I made and just go ahead and move it to the bottom of those books, because I only want one knot at the top once I'm done. And then once I move that knot to the bottom of those books, now I'm just going to start wrapping the twine around the books completely. So all I'm doing is just wrapping it all the way around. I'm not really sure how many times I did this, but a good amount of times to where I felt like it was, thick enough to look good. Then I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors, cut off a little piece of the end. I'm still making it a little bit longer because I'm making like just a real skinny twine bow out of this. And then that's all you have for those stacked twine roped books. I think they look really, really cute on my bookcase. I couldn't ask for an easier, better project to do with these $1 books. Next, I'm taking these potted plants I picked up from the Dollar Tree along with this ball that I got from the toy section. And what I'm going to do first is paint the pots, and I'm using the elephant chalk paint from Waverly that I picked up from Walmart, and just going to cover these completely. I did about 2 coats for each of these pots. And that is what they look like completed and dried. So the next thing I'm going to do is take that ball that I got from Dollar Tree, and I attempted to paint this because they didn't have any green balls, and this bright yellow might, show through the moss that I'm going to put on it. So I tried to paint it. I don't have any acrylic paint, so I used the chalk paint and ink. The moss. And that's what it turned out. And then I ended up using the chalk paint and ink, which is the black color. But that didn't really work either. I tried blotting it. It just didn't work. And that's what I ended up with. So I went with it. And all I'm doing is just go ahead and put in some hot glue on the ball. And then putting the moss, the floral moss all around that ball until it's completely covered. Once I have it completely covered, I'm going to make sure that it looks a little good. So I am going to trim that down and just take my scissors and just randomly cut around where it's kind of, hanging out and sticking out a lot. Now I did cut some pieces down a little too thin, so I went back and put more moss on it, but it turned out pretty nicely. So before I assemble this onto one of the pots, I'm taking the other pot and going to put some of my ivory chalk paint around it. I was kind of going for I really don't know what I was going for, but I thought it would be really nice. And it turned out really nicely. So all I'm doing is just kind of, lightly brushing it on. I put a little bit too much on some spaces, so I had to overcompensate in other areas. But I really liked the way that it came out. And that's what I did when I mixed the white and the elephant colors together. So I'm using these faux moss stones that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make some kind of moss tree out of it. I'm just gluing them all together in a circular pattern. So now that I have both of my moss plants completed, I'm going to take 2 wooden dowels that I picked up from a pack in Dollar Tree, and I just painted them that elephant color as well. And then what I'm going to do is glue them together to make a thicker stick for it. What I'm doing first is going to put this floral styrofoam in the bottom. So I'm just cutting a piece off of the large piece and then cutting that in half and then just sticking it down into that potted plant. After that, I am sticking a hole or putting a hole into that floral moss ball. Then I'm going to put some hot glue on the bottom of those dowels, wooden dowels, and then stick it over into that toy. And then also put some hot glue on the bottom of the stick and then stick that into the floral foam at the bottom of the pot. And then to make that look a little bit more full, I'm taking some Spanish moss and going to put that at the bottom and then taking some of those rocks and putting that on top of that Spanish moss so it has that nice completed look. I really do love this craft, and I definitely will be in my house for a while to come. It's so easy and so pretty. So for the next potted plant, I'm going to pretty much do the same thing. I have the wooden dowel. I did not paint this one because I wasn't sure that I still wanted it. So what I did is go ahead and put the floral foam in there, the Spanish moss, and then the rocks. Then I pushed down on the faux moss stone tree, and it just completely went through the dowel. So I just took that out. Then I decided to go ahead and take the rocks out because it just didn't flow the way that I wanted. And so then I took those out and put hot glue on the top part of the pot and a little bit of on top of the Spanish moss, and then put the faux moss stone plant on top of it. And it came out really great. I decided to put some white flowers that I had laying around just in some of the little creases, and I love it. I think all of it looks really great, and it was so easy to do. That's all I have for you dolls today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks dolls, I'll see you on the next one. Bye!